Russell.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I speak today from experience working with universities and as an academic myself many years ago studying physics. And what I found during that time was the importance of enabling diversity of thought, the ability to challenge ideas, the ability to propose new ideas even though they go against the grain of what others may think. And I remember a project over 10 years ago working with a Russell Group university where they wouldn't allow their academics to blog because they were too scared they might say the wrong thing. I successfully encouraged them to set up a new website which included the big debate, which enabled a yes and a no debate from academics to debate on what the topic of the day was and provide different points of view. And that's what academia and university should be about. It should be about debating things to get to the truth of it. And even as we've seen over the past year with COVID, there have been disagreements about the science. We have seen disagreements about the ethics, about the morality of different issues that have impacted us all. And we must make sure that we can enable that and continue that within our universities. The challenge, as my right honourable friend mentioned earlier, is that we have to look at this through the lens of modern society. 10 years ago, blogs were a new thing. Now, social media is everywhere. And what happens in one campus can go across the country and across the world in a matter of minutes. And we see all the time now this impact, this awful impact of what I call hate mobbing, this idea that all of a sudden on social media, one person is targeted for their point of view. Now, in many cases, that might be because they've got an absolutely abhorrent point of view and they shouldn't be voicing it in the way that they are. But the point is we need to make sure that they are debated and that they are pulled in terms of the scrutiny of what those views are. And I worry that we're moving towards what I would call a swipe-left society, that where, like with certain apps, where you keep swiping until you get to a point of view or a debate that you agree with, and that's the only thing that you see. We must make sure that in universities we challenge each other, that we see the arguments of other points of view to make sure that it's rounded and that we do, again, as I say, get to the truth. Andy Warhol quite famously said that in the future we would all have 15 minutes of fame. But increasingly, I see that we're getting 15 minutes of shame, with people being attacked for their points of view. And we have to make sure that we protect them on campus, because the academics and the students of today are going to be in this house in 10, 20 years' time. They're going to be the leaders of our culture and our society. They're going to be the people teaching our next generation. And if they feel that they're being stifled in their view, if they're scared of putting a point of view that's different, then we stifle them, we stifle society, and the seeds of doubt are planted now for generations to come. And there's another really important point here that we must take into account. We've talked about hate today and hate-filled speech, and of course we don't want to give those platforms, but we also need to make sure that they are scrutinised. And actually, by putting things into the shadows, that's where hate does fester. The awfulness of certain people's point of view is not dismissed from their mind because they don't say it. They just hide it. And they hide it and get others who hide it with them, and then it becomes a movement or a moment. And we must make sure that we shine a light on hate. We shine a light on different points of view. Because if we do that, we can actually argue and make the point that what they're saying is quite often absolutely foolish and nonsense. And anti-vaxxers is a good example of that, where actually the science has proven, after a year of all of our inboxes, no doubt, being filled with, at times, utter nonsense and fear-mongering, that that's been proven all wrong through the success of the vaccine programme. There's a famous phrase that I like, which is that a mind stretched by a new idea never returns to the same size. And I think within academia, within universities, with the use of free speech, and the truest form of free speech, we stretch everybody's minds, we challenge each other to have new beliefs, new perspectives. And that's why I'm supporting this bill today, because I believe that we need to make sure that we protect freedom of speech on campuses more than anywhere, because that's the one place where we should be challenging each other to find the truth and to be able to support that for our society and our nation to come. Thank you.